Hello, hello. Welcome, Soul Surfers. How are you today? Soul Surfer Dave here. And today I'm going to talk about 3 ways to know if you're sabotaging yourself or punishing yourself. So, the first one is if you feel guilty about something you did in the past. Now, this could be actually large or small. But typically it's something on the larger side, right? Either a relationship or business, or it's just something you feel guilty or shameful about in your past. Now, for me, that was an accident. And let me show you. My 3-year-old cousin, Christian, here he is. Awesome, magical, bilingual 3-year-old that lived in Mexico. I lived with him and his mother, my aunt. And he was like a son to me. His father didn't live with him. I did. And I was 18 and he was 3. And there was a tragic car accident where I was behind the wheel. And he lived for a week in a coma and then passed. So the guilt was devastating. If I had been smoking or drinking or out of sorts, who knows what I would have done to myself. But it was a split-second blackout, hit a tree. It's a miracle I'm alive because the van was totaled. So it produced a lot of guilt, right? I would sabotage and punish myself, and through drinking and smoking. So you may not have that, of an intense experience, but it doesn't really matter because any amount of guilt, just like in a court of law, warrants punishment according to ego. Okay, spirit, with all my heart, I believe, does not punish us ever. I've felt the love of my soul. I felt spirit many times, and it's always pure love, joy, fun, laughter, abundance, and everything. So who does that leave? The ego takes it upon itself to play God, so to speak, and punish and condemn us. And it's mostly subconscious. In my case, I was aware of it, but there's much more below the surface as well. So if you have this, you will punish yourself. It's basically automatic because of this guilt and punishment relationship. Jaywalking is obviously less punishable than, say, robbery. So depending on how much guilt you feel will be the way you punish yourself. Number 2, no matter how much you try to solve a certain problem, it persists. It persists. So say some area of your life, say, I don't know, you're looking for a relationship or you're trying to make more money. And no matter what you try, it just doesn't seem to move much at all. Or it'll move and then go back down, or you think you'll be over it, but it rears its head again. Now that's a typical case of sabotaging yourself because there's no movement there. So you have to dig deep and heal and remove that self-sabotage and punishment. And we'll get to some of the ways of doing that at the end of the video. 3, you experience what I call perpetual unhappiness. It means no matter what you have or do in your life, you're kind of basically unhappy. Now, we all go through phases of being happy and unhappy, getting down. But I'm talking as a baseline of being happy. And it's kind of a global epidemic, right? And I don't use that term lightly, especially in light of this pandemic of the coronavirus that we have experienced. But unhappiness, even before the pandemic, was rampant. The kind of not so talked about suicide rate is indicative of that. So sooner or later, you come to the realization that nothing outside of yourself is going to make you happy. Nobody or no thing. It's temporary fulfillment and happiness at best. But since everything changes in this world, how can you possibly put stock and trust and faith in anything in the world? Even people come and go, even if it's not by choice. Say they pass, they leave their body, they die, so to speak. So subconsciously, you know this. And yet we try to create this stability and security in the world, but it doesn't exist. The only thing you can count on is change. So there is something you can count on. There is something that never fails. There is something that is eternal and constant and only wants to give you the best of everything good. And that is your soul, spirit, God, whatever you call that. It's oneness with you. So if we go back to what we said earlier, and spirit never punishes us, we're the one doing it to ourselves. Well, that is actually really good news, because the alternative would completely suck. It would be horrible, right? There'd be this deity or outside force inflicting this suffering, guilt, pain, all these horrible things on us. But it's us doing it to ourselves unknowingly. Sometimes knowingly, in extreme cases where I would abuse myself and, wake up in the morning and have a bong load or have a shot of tequila. I was knowingly doing it. But there's other ways we do it that are not so obvious. And the proof is your life either staying the same or not improving or not solving the problem, certain problem like we went back to, the perpetual unhappiness, the guilt that you feel. Do not underestimate the guilt. Guilt demands punishment, according to ego. So despite what you may will and effort and intend and affirm, if you don't release this guilt, you're going to punish yourself. Now, here's the good news. Your soul power can come in and heal and release this, layers of it, right? It takes time. You'll have quantum leaps along the way, but it's not an overnight thing where I can just go, okay, this is a technique that will just release all your guilt all at once and be done with it. It's too large. There's subconscious guilt. And I'll do other videos on this, but for now, let me circle back to some of the ways that you can release this, like I mentioned before. And so your soul power can come in. It needs willingness and your permission from the part of you that believes it's guilty to heal it, to release that guilt. So how do you do this? Find ways that work for you. I created something soul-powered healing. I was really guided to create this to help many people at once in a tribe setting, giving live 1-hour messages and active healing for you. So you learn it and provide healing for you. Check out soulpoweredhealing.com if you want to know more. But overall, just ask your soul to guide you to what will release this. So I hope this helped, and you can stop sabotaging yourself and be happy, be prosperous, be successful as quickly as possible. Bye for now.